Thinking about buying a franchise? Don't go it alone. Just like a buyer's agent in real estate, you deserve someone who's on your side every step of the way. That's where Todd Abraham, the franchise guy, comes in. Todd's consulting services are completely free to anyone looking to buy a franchise. He'll represent your interest, make sure all your questions are answered, and walk you through the entire buying process. With Todd in your corner, you'll have the best chance for success from your first call to the day you hold the keys to your new business. So before you buy a franchise, talk to someone who knows the industry inside and out and works for you. Call Todd Abraham, the franchise guy, today at 423-381-0925 for a free, no-pressure consultation. That's 423-381-0925. Your future in franchising starts here. Welcome to the Franchise Marketing Systems Client Spotlight Podcast. My name is Todd Abraham, and today we are fortunate enough to have with us a man that I affectionately refer to as a dumpster diver, who has made a business out of dumpster rentals. And almost caught me off guard there because as the countdown was coming down for the record button to start, he's asking me, "Hey, do you have a list of questions?" And I'm like, without any further ado, Jake Caylor from moderndumpsterrental.com. No, this is not the Jake from State Farm, sadly. But so Jake, as you've already figured out in the first 30 seconds, we like to have fun on the podcast. Welcome to the show, brother.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad to be here and appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. So Jake and I were talking right before we hit the record button, and he's got a pretty robust life, married with 4 kids, age range from 1 to 14, which sounds like a home zoo to me. But definitely kids are awesome. So a lot of fun. So Jake, tell us a little bit about yourself. And, I bet when you were in like high school and some of your friends like, "Hey man, what are you going to do when you like grow up?" And like, "Man, I'm going to have a business dumpster diving." I bet you never said that.
No, it wasn't on the top of my list. No, definitely not. I never would have thought of it. And even 10 years ago, didn't see myself in this position, but, I have learned to love this industry and the opportunities that it has and the money that you can make in it, and then just being able to grow and have some flexibility and have some life that you can have with your family and all those kind of things. So it's really been a blessing for me to stand on top of a landfill and be able to sit there and smile and say, "Look, I made it." So.
I'm at the pinnacle of my business growth right here. I'm at the top of the landfill.
I'm it.
So now, how long has Modern Dumpster Rental been in business?
So we started Modern Dumpster. Well, Modern Dumpster Rental is a branch off of Texas Modern Waste. We started Texas Modern Waste in 2019, and we grew that business out. And it still continues. The business is still going. And then Modern Dumpster Rental was just a dream I had to franchise Texas Modern Waste. But, obviously Texas Modern Waste doesn't have really a national brand name to it. So we went with Modern Dumpster Rental and wanted to branch out nationally with that business model. And Modern Dumpster Rental was formed in 2023 and getting going. So.
Well, one of the things I love about your business, and for those of you that are tuning in, the website is moderndumpsterrental.com, and the branding is very, very good. It's very noticeable. It's a neon green, like I said, with big bold letters on it. And if you won't notice it on the website. And by the way, there is a franchise information link on the primary website, moderndumpsterrental.com. But when you look at the pictures, when you buy a franchise with this company, when they brand your dumpsters, there is going to be your phone number for your franchise in big, bold numbers on those dumpsters, because that's something that Jake and I were talking about on the phone the other day. So tell us a little bit about, because you said you have a niche in the market for these types of dumpsters. Because obviously, if you drive anywhere and you see construction going on, you see these types of dumpsters. but I personally have never seen the branding like I've seen on yours. Very, very noticeable. So what is your niche in this market?
Yes, our niche is really, we offer a 20 and 25 yard dumpsters on a hook lift system. And a lot of, dumpsters you'll see all over the country. You'll see the 30 and 40 yard commercial roll off dumpsters that, the big boys have. And they'll have them commercial sites, even cities will have their own large dumpsters. And then you'll see some, you've got some of the smaller guys, and they'll have some 10 yard and 15 yard dumpsters. But we're really in that middle market, and of the 20 and 25s, with 25s being probably the most efficient size for any project in the country. And so we really kind of target that niche. Our niche really started with the residential home builders that were building large developments here outside of Houston, Texas. And, they've got 6 or 8 dumpster pools per house. And so they needed something that they had to have dumpsters per some, city initiatives they were trying to do. And they had to have a dumpster that fit on a lot. And so we designed a certain size, and our setup allows us to get in and out of a neighborhood that's crammed with traffic on both sides of the street and silt fence. And I mean, there's material laying everywhere. And so our setup really is a niche in itself. We're really the only guys that can get in and out of a residential neighborhood and to manage that project.
And not like barrel over cars that are parked on the side of the road. Like the Jason Bourne movie when the guy was driving the armored truck and he was just wiping cars out on the road, and I thought that's the way I feel like I want to drive sometimes because I'm in Southeast Tennessee and people do not know how to do the speed limit here. So thank God I don't have like an armored truck or like one of your vehicles, one of them big steel dumpsters on the back just to plow through them, It's like, get out of my way.
Yeah, you definitely could do it. But
so now Texas Modern Waste, is that just the dumpsters too, or do you actually have like a trash pickup service as well with that? Or
no, Texas Modern Waste was, we started it out with just dumpsters. If you're going to do trash pickup, it's a different animal, different setup, different trucks that you got to have equipment, CDL drivers. Another niche, for Modern Dumpster Rental is we are a non-CDL truck. So you don't have to have CDL drivers. I didn't have a CDL when we started, and I jumped right in the truck and went to work on day one. So there was no extra training or qualifications or licensing that we had to have.
So what did you do prior to starting this company?
So I've been in oil and gas for the last 18 years and construction mainly, but a lot of engineering, project management. Then I got into turnaround management and turnaround consulting. I've helped start a few businesses here in the Houston market. Last gig, I was just traveling a lot. I was traveling all over the world and gone about 60% of the time. And so I had 2 small kids at the time, and I just needed something to stay home with.
Right.
And so started this, and this kept me home every night. And but mainly just really just construction was my background. So knowing, obviously, for all projects, you got to have dumpsters. It was just something that kind of just fell right into my lap. Something that you had to have. Everybody has to have it, and they make good money around it because I've paid for so many of them before in my lifetime as well. So knowing the margins were there.
Yeah. And, some things I like about your franchise we've already talked about, but, the fact that, non-CDL is awesome. The fact that when somebody buys a franchise, and this is good for anybody considering buying a franchise with Jake and Modern Dumpster Rental, is the truck's included in the purchase. So it's a little bit higher than the average investment for the average franchise, but the truck is included. I think that takes a huge anxiety factor out for somebody thinking, well, do I have to, what size truck do I have to buy, blah, blah, blah. All the branding, it's already done. The other thing is that it's not very employee intensive because like you said, you could start out with one driver and or even the person buying the franchise could be the driver for a while until they build it up. So tell us about that aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. I started out as the owner operator and drove the trucks, did everything for the business from soup to nuts for their entire business. So I drove that for 2 years. until I kind of got to where I wanted to be. But I didn't want to have a lot of employees. Employees was kind of a four-letter word around me and my business partner when we got this thing started. So we didn't want to have a lot. We don't have the right size business. But we added on one employee, and about 2 years in, and then we just kept growing that, and then that freed me up to actually grow the business. And yeah, you get the truck. Obviously, the truck, the truck comes with the initial package. It's all the branding like you talked about, but you get dumpsters, and you get 40 dumpsters with our investment. Yeah, you'll see some different dumpster companies, and they'll have lower initial investment dollars, but they're starting you out with, you can start out as little as one dumpster. We start you out with 40 because 40 is the number that we know that makes the dumpster business worth your while, worth your time. That's the number that you got to have to really make the wheels turn and make it beneficial for you to where you can scale it.
Right.
So,
well, we were talking about how much would the average dumpster gross per year. This is per dumpster, and you said ballpark around 8,000. We're now just to clarify, we're not guaranteeing any income. It's all based on effort, obviously. But if we're just speculating, if you had 40 dumpsters and they grossed about $8,000 each annually, I mean, that's a pretty significant revenue right there.
Definitely. We see every dumpster in the country. I see it's worth about $8,000 of revenue for anybody. One dumpster to 100 dumpsters. But for 40 dumpsters, yeah, you're at 8,000, so 320,000, right over, you're over the $300,000 mark in your first year. And historically, that was never a problem. So.
Well, and like I said, back to the branding thing, I mean, like you've done something that I haven't seen. I've seen a few really nice dumpsters out there, but never on a consistent basis. But that bright neon green, man, that really grabs a person's attention, Yeah. But so, and then we talked about on the phone the other day, tell us about what kind of a storage space you would need to store that many dumpsters. At what size lot?
Yeah. So we're, all of our franchisees, obviously 1 acre would be a good size. I think you could do it at about 3/4 of an acre if it was the right setup, the right shape. But 1 acre gives you enough to turn around the trucks, have enough, lay down area. I mean, really, the goal is to not have to have any acreage, right? We have a 2-acre facility here and outside of Houston, and I've had 145 dumpsters, and I've had none in the yard for over 7 months at a time.
Wow.
So, the goal is always to not need any space.
That's
but
right.
If you were to set all 40 down at one time, I would say an acre would be well more than you need.
So now let's talk about, because obviously franchisees are always interested in the numbers aspect for obvious reasons. So let's talk about how do you charge for these dumpsters? And you talked about a fuel surplus charge that you guys have recently done, which customers seem to be okay with. And then there's a delivery fee, right?
Yeah. So initially you'll have a delivery fee. Every customer, we charge them $125 for the delivery fee. And then that starts their clock. And we give, you can structure this thing out a couple different ways. We've always structured ours where it's a 30-day rental. And at 30 days, or our first pickup for your 20-yard dumpster, it's $495. And for your 25, it's $595 at pickup. And obviously we do have a $37.50 fuel charge after those pickups. But we have no daily rental fees or anything like that. A lot of guys are keeping a clock on, 10 days, 16 days, and they're charging you daily rental fees. And we didn't want to have to keep up with that as one. So we thought the 30-day thing was fair. And a lot of our customers love it because they're not keeping track of it. But it's not like they get 30 days and then, there's no fee. So we do charge a fee there unless we've picked it up. And every time we pick it up, the clock starts. But, you can be a little flexible too with your retail customers that are not your builders or, your commercial construction guys. Your retail customers, you can always, we tell our customers here, you have it less than 10 days, we take $25 off the rental fee. And if you take it out less than 3 days, we'll take $50 off. So.
Right. And then we also talked about the cost to dump those, and you said that the average cost is about $50 per ton.
Yeah, that's the average. That's the average cost for tonnage, our overage cost. If you were going to look at, our average dumpster is going to be about 6,800 pounds. We're, in this market, we're charged by the yard, and so our average dumpster charges us about 160. But that's a pretty common number that we see all over the country.
So now let's say if you had a construction customer that was building a subdivision, and then you had 3 dumpsters that they were using for all their construction refuse. So do you charge that delivery fee only for the first time when you drop it off, but then when you go and empty it and bring it back, is that another $125 delivery
No,
fee?
sir. Yeah, that's just a one-time fee. One time, $125 for the initial delivery, and we do that to kind of to reserve that dumpster for that lot. So you'll never get charged. You don't get charged every time. It's just a pickup fee at that point.
Right. So how do you prevent somebody, say, from just being like lazy, and then they get a dumpster and then they wind up keeping it for 3 months longer than what you originally anticipated? How would you charge them for that, by the month, or?
Yeah, you charge them at that 30-day fee. That 30-day fee comes, that's a automatic fee at 30 days. I get charged for that. If you're flexible with your customer too, if it's a good customer and it's just something got out of whack, or they had a slow building process or something like that, I always tell them, hey, if it's 30 days, there's a fee. If you call me in the next week and say, I need it dumped, I'm not going to charge you again.
Right.
But just kind of be flexible with them.
And that 30-day fee would be either the $495 or
correct. Yeah, the $495 or $595.
So now, how many dumpsters do you guys own at like the primary company?
So right now, Texas Modern Waste has over 200, right at 200,
and those have been out for about 7 months, you said.
Oh yeah, and it fluctuates with that number there. Going back to the beginning of 2023, as we had 145, and we had less than 5 in the yard at a time. But with 200 right now, we've got about 30 in the yard, and but that number that's a number you gotta to keep up. That's a lot.
Now, here's a good question. So, and just so you know, if you're tuning in, as far as the cost to actually make those dumpsters and have all the branding done, like you said, with us, and what it said, the website again, moderndumpsterrental.com. There is a franchise link there with all the franchise information. So to have those completely done, like you said, and your phone number for a franchisee will be in big, bold numbers on the side of your dumpsters. Jake said it's about $8,000 per dumpster. So in the first year, if you hustle, you could get all your money back on the cost to have those dumpsters made. So after that second year, hey, Lord willing, you're going to be doing a lot better. I think that's exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a target. I mean, we're looking at all payback of all your investment up front in a 3-year payback. Not many businesses can say that. So, I mean, it's a very, very lucrative business. I mean, you've got to get out and hustle like any business. You got to go out and make it happen. But it can be a very lucrative business, and you have all your investment be paid back very quickly. And I mean, if you hustle it, it can be paid back a whole lot quicker,
Right. So let's talk about the investment. Like you said, most would start with 40, but they can start with 20. So talk about the investment range there.
Yeah. So as far as the investment, and if you go to moderndumpsterfranchise.com, or if you don't see the link on Modern Dumpster Rental, moderndumpsterfranchise.com has a lot of our, all our franchise information. It has a really nice ROI calculator. At the bottom of the first page, there's a ROI calculator, and you'll see a little toggle where you can, space it out. It starts at 40 and goes up to 60 and 80, but you can also go down to 20. So at 20 dumpsters, you're looking at right at a $400,000 investment, because obviously you have to have the truck and the 20 dumpsters, and the additional dumpsters, the other 20 dumpsters cost you $115,000. So your 40 dumpster package is $515, and you'll see it go up to 60 dumpsters and then 80. At 60 dumpsters, you obviously with the other 40 dumpsters, you got to have another truck. So we're going to add an additional truck and the dumpster cost, and then the 80 will have an additional dumpster cost. And so that's how that works. But your upfront cost at 20 is right at $400,000.
Right. So here's a cool question. So since you guys started branding these with the really bright colors, how much business would you say that brings in just from the branding standpoint?
Oh, I would say that it shows up really well. And our branding is, even in this area, everybody knows who we are. You have a billboard out there on day one that dumpster sits down. It's got your name and your phone number, and you have a billboard there. So everybody sees it, and I can't tell you the calls. We get calls all week, needing a dumpster. You'll be surprising. Dumpsters, they rent to everybody, all shapes and sizes, ages, demographics. Everybody needs dumpsters once in their life. So it gets out there. It stays. And our dumpsters they're new, clean, sharp. The green, our color's electric lime. It doesn't let you down. It's a bright color, and it's a nice touch to your brand and to your marketing campaign.
Yeah, and so I didn't see I'm sure, but on the dumpsters themselves, on the back side, like when people that are up on the truck, obviously, is the phone number on the back panel too, like people that are driving behind the.
Yeah, the phone number can be on the back as well. We always do it on the side. The backs, sometimes they get, people run into the backs and damage, just kind of hit dumpsters and stuff like that. So we try to keep it to where, it's not getting rubbed off and stuff like that, because you're opening that back dumpster a lot at the landfill when you're dumping and stuff like that. But yeah, we put the dumpster small on the back, but just on the side it's very large and kind of in your face.
Gotcha. All right, well, cool. So you guys have been a franchise for how long now?
We've been, this year we started marketing in March and end of March, and we've landed our first franchisees getting started in Greenville, North Carolina, and we're excited about those guys, and we've got a lot of interest from the rest of the nation, just trying to get everybody through financing and all the things that it takes for franchising. But we're set up in a lot of different states in the Southeast is kind of where we're targeting first. But we're happy to go anywhere. We've been talking to people from Colorado this week, so it's expanding out our kind of range as we speak.
Yeah. I would think, this sounds ironic, but not really, but I would think like a really big construction company should be a really good franchisee for you, because they're already in the business. And, from a financial standpoint, they would definitely save money there. And then, but also, it could be another facet of their business, that they offer to make income with. So.
Yeah, definitely. Those are good, targets for our franchises. And, home investors like realtors and stuff like that, and guys that do remodels that are paying for dumpsters all the time, that have those kind of connections and a network like that are good fits as well.
Right. And plus construction companies, they already usually have land to put all their equipment in, when they're not actually out working. But all right. Well, so talk about, like, from the marketing standpoint, like, I know you guys provide all the training for that, but just give us some like highlights of how somebody would go about, other than, of course, these big little electric green dumpsters, as far as the marketing goes. Would it just be like, going through the phone book, talking to every construction company in the area, that sort of thing? Or?
Yeah, as far as marketing, getting on the ground, you want to hit up, definitely all the construction companies in your area, all the residential and builders, commercial builders, your retail customers. They're gonna come pretty quick, because they're gonna start seeing you. Our website you have a dedicated website page on the national website, so everybody will be able to go to your page and be able to order directly from there. Our marketing campaign, just like our branding is kind of out there in your face, our marketing campaign is out there in your face, and it will continue to be that. So you'll see a lot of traction from just that in your area. And we like to get involved with the communities that we're in. Specifically, we're always involved in the Chamber of Commerce, but also the different organizations, the business organizations in town that especially in the Houston area, there's a lot of organizations that we're a part of, for, the different chambers, but also the different oil and gas organizations, or any construction organization you have in your area. Like I said, anybody that does construction or remodels or anything of that nature are using dumpsters. So any customer you can think of, you just got to get out there and got to shake some hands, kiss some babies, and get your name out there. But it doesn't take long once you get it rolling.
Right. That's cool. And then so when somebody decides to become a franchisee and they sign on board with you, and then the whole process gets started from that point to the point where they actually receive the dumpsters and can start, getting them out there, what's about the average time frame?
Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks from the time that, the funding has come through for your equipment funding. Will be the time that, as far as once that's done, then the training will happen and the equipment. We do have we have a stock of trucks and dumpsters currently. So if somebody wanted to get started, day one, we can facilitate that. It takes us, if we have more trucks ordered and stuff like that. So trucks typically take, 3 to 6 months sometimes to get made, depending on the backlog of the trucks. But we've got some in the pipeline, so we have 3 a quarter pretty much ready to go. So somebody can get started fairly quickly with our business, and 6 to 8 weeks they can get started.
That's cool. And do those dumpsters hold up well as far as like the paint and everything when they sit in these construction sites going through all that rough and tumble? Do they hold up well as far as the paint jobs on them?
Yeah, the paint jobs hold up. I mean, we've painted them. I think we painted them one time since we got started, and they still look really good. So, it's just something you got to, it's just like anything, you got to keep up. We pressure wash them off and clean them up the best we can, on the inside, but pressure wash off, periodically, to keep them looking good.
Right. Nice. All right. Well, so it's Modern Dumpster Rental, Jake Caylor, based out of Texas. Like you said, they've got their first franchisee in the pipeline, getting ready to start in Greenville, North Carolina. And the investment range is going to be between 400 and 600,000, just depends on, how many dumpsters you want to start with. So as we get ready to wrap up here, again, in the website is, moderndumpsterrental.com. There's a franchise link there, but if you want to go straight to the franchise page, it is moderndumpsterfranchise.com. And it's a very good franchise information page, by the way. I do love the ROI calculator. That's the first time I've seen that. So tell us about your experience and what led you to choose Franchise Marketing Systems as the company to create the franchise for you.
Well, I just did some research on different franchise companies that could help us out. Starting out, I mean, when you're starting a franchise, you kind of want to go to some experts, some guys you feel comfortable with that can lead you in that path. FMS was just kind of really good from the start. Just talking with those guys, and Chris Connor just kind of led us through kind of the steps. And I'm like, well, we can do this, and these guys are going to help us do this. And we kind of all had the same vision for what it was going to take. I had a lot of visions of how I wanted it to look, and they just kind of helped me kind of see my vision through. So, I mean, it's been a really good process, from start to finish. And so far, and we're just trying to keep getting that momentum with franchisees and keep the ball rolling so that we can, grow this thing. But I can't say nothing but great words, about FMS and how they've helped us out and kept us rolling, put us in the right, touch with the right people as far as marketing and different strategies and that as well. So it's just, they have a good network of people. Franchising, I mean, it's not, you got to be patient. with franchising. It's not going to happen overnight. And, we have time. We're not in a rush. We want to grow the right brand the right way. And we feel like with, FMS on our side and with our team that I think we've got, a good team surrounding us that's going to be able to help us grow it, but also help our franchisees as they grow. And,
right. Well, yeah, obviously the more franchisees you get, the bigger the brand. I think, on a funny, humorous side note, but you should hire a cartoonist to do like a caricature of you, and you could be like the dumpster tycoon, and have a cape on, with your acronym on there. That would be your kids would love that. That would be pretty cool.
That's an idea.
Yeah, they'd be like, well, my dad's a superhero. He's the dumpster tycoon, But anyway, so again, as we get ready to wrap up here, we are talking with Jake Caylor. He is the president and founder of Modern Dumpster Rental, and it's a great franchise. It's definitely in every aspect. I mean, like I said, the branding's great. The revenue model's really good. And even though, like I said, it's a little higher than the average franchise cost, the great thing about it is going forward, once you get started, you have low overhead as far as the number of employees that's required. If you even need an employee, somebody that could buy a franchise and do this themselves, at least until they got to where they needed to add a truck, then I think that's what's great about it. But if you want more information, what is the best way for them to get a hold of you directly, Jake?
They can reach out to me at franchise@moderndumpsterrental.com. And you can get them all the information. Something else I want to run by Todd, is we've initiated a lease program for dumpster leasing to kind of cut off some of that upfront cost for the dumpsters. So we have a lease model that we can share with potential franchisees that would like to cut some of that cost on the upfront dumpsters themselves. So we do have that lease model in play, and
how does that work? So how would that work as far as?
We would just lease the dumpsters to them instead of them having to pay for them up front. We have a lease fee. It's right now it's $165 a month per dumpster. And they would just pay, a rental fee basically for that dumpster on a 5-year lease. And so that keeps them a little cash flow in their pocket to operate and to grow. At the end of that term, that lease term, we'll sell them the dumpsters at 50% of what the actual market value is at that time, so they can have some savings there. It's just really to help guys, get up and going that don't really have that $500,000 to get started.
That's really cool. And just so you know, if you're tuning in, regardless of any franchise you're considering buying, about 70% of franchise buyers, they do finance the purchase. And I actually recommend it even if they had $500,000 in the bank, just because it keeps their cash that they've worked hard to save in reserve while they get their business up and off the ground. But Franchise Marketing Systems does have some awesome lending partners that can help you in the finance part of the buying process. And we're talking about, signature loans that don't require collateral up to a pretty good amount. But Jake, it's been a lot of fun. But again, moderndumpsterfranchise.com for all the information. If you want to reach Jake directly, it's franchise@moderndumpsterrental.com is the direct email address. If you're interested in buying a franchise with Jake and Modern Dumpster Rental, you can contact me directly. My name is Todd Abraham, and my phone number is 423-381-0925. And again, you're tuning in to the Franchise Marketing Systems Client Spotlight podcast on franchiseradio.net. And our tagline is your information station for everything franchising. Jake, thanks so much, buddy. Any closing comments before we wrap up here?
No, thanks, Todd. Appreciate your time, and we appreciate what this is going to help us out and grow this brand. So we're excited, and we look forward to the new franchisees that coming aboard a Modern Dumpster Rental.
Yes, sir. And I'd have to say, as we close, we could probably both say, hey, let's go green, America.
That's right. Electric lime all the way.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. We're out, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in.
All right. Take care. Thanks.